Why, hello, it is I, Chris Brogan. How the heck are you? Welcome to this, your brief for Tuesday, the 14th of November, 2017. This is a story that I have created for you, wherein which I share with you trends and information and ideas that come from stories that I've read. The idea is that these stories or articles or things I found all over various parts of the web are information that may in some way impact your business or your life. So what we're looking for, what trends might impact how you drive better business. In that, what I do is I put these all together at chrisbrogan.com. You can go to, oh, I forgot to do this. Hang on. Dun, 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 dun. Boop. There you go. You go to chrisbrogan.com/CBM, and you can look at this story live instead of having to listen to me tell you the story. I share all the links with you there, chrisbrogan.com/CBM, and it works totally fine for you. This is shot using Ecamm Live. It's the best way to do Facebook Live for Mac. It is such a fun project. I'm so happy to be part of it. Now, very first story for you of the day was I found an interesting article about marketing trends as predicted by people in China, different Chinese C-level leaders. And the trends for 2018 for marketing, according to these C-level people, are that first off, CMOs and their teams are going to embrace AI in 2018, whether or not they know this. I think that's sort of a little bit of hyperbole, but I think that the idea is possible because there's a lot more artificial intelligence being brought to bear on lots of parts of the platform. Also says the future of marketing is about connection and content. There could be no better Chris Brogan approved mindset than connection and content. I always say content, community, and marketplace. That is such a great option, and I think it's definitely one of the ways to look at it. Brendan points out that he wishes that the nice folks at Ecamm Live would make a PC version. There's a few reasons why not. One of them is just that it's a lot easier to write this code in that space. So anyway, that's our story for that. Now, moving on, I found that there's a bunch of trends from a nice bunch of people in China. These are 8 game-changing SEO trends that dominate 2018. You know me well. You know that I don't know the first thing about SEO. But when I like to share some of this stuff, it's interesting. Number one trend is just that there's going to be a lot more rise of features available on the very first resource page in Google. So Google's resource page is getting more and more smart and full of stuff. What it talks through is what you could do to sort of fix this and what you could do to make your sites be a little more friendly to show up on that page better. Number 2 is the trend I'm very interested in, structured data. So it's formatting your HTML in ways that, pushes the data out to other places and does it in a slightly better way. That's where it becomes kind of interesting to me. There's also a guide included on that. So again, chrisbrogan.com/CBM, so you can check this out for yourself. You don't have to listen to me about it. But that idea of structured data, here's one of the biggest trends coming in 2018 and beyond, is that we're pushing data out to where it needs to be. We're not ever going to come and find the data as much anymore. It's going to go out to where we need it. Google Maps now shows restaurant wait times. So not only can you ask, where is the Chloe restaurant in Boston, which is a cool little vegan restaurant, it'll say right on it, Chloe, 10-minute wait, right? So you don't even have to go to their site for anything. You don't have to call anymore. So that's a big trend coming up in 2018, and that's important to know, is that things like structured data is part of the SEO stuff that you do have to pay attention to. I've said for years I don't pay attention to SEO, but I'm at a point where you can't anymore. You have to really take a look at it. Another interesting trend in marketing for 2018, you're already seeing it now, loyalty marketing. So this whole thing, Sean Hannity had all these people crushing and destroying their K-Cups. This is their Keurig machines. And the reason is that Sean Hannity's show ran a conversation, an interview with a person of note, Mr. Roy Moore, who's a government person, senator, I think. I'm sort of balking because I can't remember if he's a senator. And in it, Hannity accused the accusations against Roy Moore for pedophilia as being just something thrown at him from the liberals. And, it sent off a big protest. And so a bunch of people pushed to Keurig and said, I can't believe you're advertising against Sean Hannity. Keurig said, and then pulled their advertisement. And then everything went crazy and all kinds of Sean Hannity fans started destroying their Keurig machines. Marketing and loyalty are a huge trend for 2018 and even now. And this is important because of what you treat, how you treat your community, what goes on in that community, and how you build your business relationships is going to impact the bottom line no matter what. There's no longer some kind of separation of advertisement and state. There probably never really was. Electronic Arts has learned that they should pay a little more attention to their community. EA got in a bunch of trouble. They ended up having the lowest downvoted comments ever in the history of Reddit, meaning that one of their community people came on to try to defend why one of their projects had this thing going on with Star Wars Battlefront 2 where downloadable content was costing so much money to unlock certain heroes. It became the excuse or the explanation as to why they did what they did became the most downvoted community comment in the history of Reddit. So they ended up, this community was so frustrated, so knocked down by this, and pushed on EA so hard and just exploded in all directions, news coverage, all kinds of things happening, that they decided that they have to change the price and kind of fall back on their heels a little bit based on community response. The lesson there is develop and operate with the community in mind. When you're building your stuff, make sure the community knows all along what's going on. In this little interesting storyline, evidently you could buy a $150 face mask and flip out your new iPhone X. So, and I know it's called iPhone 10, but I know all the kids are all calling it iPhone X, and that's what I see when I see it too. So a $150 mask offsets iPhone's big eyeball security that they said was going to save the world. And, how could you possibly replicate your face? Well, it turns out your face isn't all that unique because the iPhone X can be fooled by a mask. Now, this isn't really a story. This is one of those stories where any kind of new tech comes along, we go, but it's just interesting in that way. Hey, maybe you're lonely. Maybe you don't have enough friends. What would you say about having an artificial intelligence friend? This is for a company called Replica with a K. Replica allows you to build a chat relationship with an artificial intelligence, and it is pretty smart. It talks back and forth as if you're chatting with a friend. You can ask it questions. It can ask you questions. It can share funny memes with you. I don't know how that one gets programmed. So would you consider having an artificial intelligence friend? I downloaded Replica a little while ago. Couldn't find the screen there. And it asked me all kinds of questions. Sometimes some of the questions are strange. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't. But I pass photos back and forth with it. And I know it's not a human, but every now and again, if you feel like you're just kind of sick of talking to the people you talk to, or you want somebody utterly non-judgmental, hey, maybe an artificial intelligence friend will be good. Maybe the replicants in Blade Runner should have had those kinds of friends, and they wouldn't have gotten so much trouble. This next person is not a relative of mine, despite the fact that their name is, not kidding, Brogan Bambrogan. Brogan Bambrogan is this person's legal name, is bringing Hyperloop to Colorado. I'm not going to lie, I only shared this story because I thought the name was crazy. Brogan Bambrogan. No, I will not be changing my name to match that. I think that that's a cuckoo name. But it's interesting that they're bringing Hyperloop to Chicago. I thought of Hyperloop as just an Elon Musk thing, but evidently the concept is out there in more than one format. I do often share plant-based news with you. I chose to, that's my stage name, says Carrie. I do often share plant-based news with you. A lot of times it's because I think that there's some interesting stuff going on in that marketing segment. I think that looking at food trends teaches us some other stuff about marketing that we don't always know. But I also eat plant-based mostly for an environmental reason, not necessarily because of cruelty to animals. I'd still punch a cow in the face. I don't care. But this is an interesting report that came out. A whole bunch of world scientists warned the time is running out to save the planet. Now, by the way, this is plant-based news, so they hook to one tiny detail in this very large manifesto that we should move to plant-based foods. That is what the report says. And in this report, over 15,000 scientists from 184 different countries got together and said, boy, are we in trouble. That there's all kinds of possible catastrophic level events coming, big mass extinction events coming, and this stuff is happening. Like it's right now, it just isn't not going to happen. And so they share all kinds of stats on this. They say, over the last 25 years, the amount of fresh water available per head of population is reduced by 26%, 75% increase in dead zones all over the planet. Carbon emissions have shown significant increases. Human populations risen by 35%, while mammals, reptiles, and amphibians, birds, and fish in the whole wide world have dropped by 29%. In the solutions section, some of what they said here is maintaining nature's ecosystem by halting conversion of forests and grasslands, eating a plant-based diet would help, etc., etc., etc. Now, it's really funny. When I think of a story like this and I start wondering what's going to happen when that story plays out a little further, I've already seen a whole bunch of studies by industry sponsored by meat and things affected by plant-based diets saying, oh no, food deficiency is going to happen. All kinds of terrible things are going to happen. We're all going to die. So it's very funny how fast they push back. But that's okay. If the planet blows up, it's all right because we can still deal with having a whole bunch of really cool headless dog robots to run all over the planet. Boston Dynamics, known for making the first Spot, has now created a Spot Mini. Just watch this baby walk around for a second. Spot is a real, actual functioning robot. This isn't any kind of Photoshop or anything like this. And this is the new Spot Mini. So this little guy here is a functional prototype up and running, and you're going to be able to see a lot more of that. So, if we blow up the whole planet, we'll get a chance to take advantage of better run space for our robot dogs. If you don't already feel bummed out by that, let's go to some good news instead. Mattel has shown off. Yeah, John points out that Boston Dynamics most definitely unnerves him. Mattel has announced that they have their first Barbie wearing a hijab. So this is to celebrate a U.S. Olympic medal winner. Oh my gosh, I'm going to forget her name. It's like, hang on. It's, Ibtihaj Muhammad. Oh my gosh. English is not my first language. Ibtihaj Muhammad is going to be the first doll made with a hijab from the Barbie world. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I guess that people in Muslim countries have played with Barbie before this, but of course they had to sort of add their hijabs. It's neat that there's one coming with it to celebrate her Olympic win. Last story of the day is almost always something kind of super nerdy, geeky. This happens to be cosplay. I love sharing cosplay. I especially love sharing it from other places. This guy is called the King of Cosplay of India. This is in the India Times. This is a day in the life of the King of Cosplay. You will get to see him transform from nice, mild-mannered gentleman into one of Overwatch players' known characters, Reinhardt. This is his big challenge. This guy, G, is trying to win the contest at this Comic-Con cosplay. And he's been working on this. He's been building big stuff. So that's him without his makeup. And then if I scroll down a little, you can see his gear being unloaded off the truck. And you can see a whole bunch of his armor getting ready to be assembled. And then I will show you the final product. That is him dressed like Reinhardt in Overwatch. If you don't know who Reinhardt is, you can still say, holy cow, this guy made this costume just because he's a fan of a particular video game and because he wants to win a contest. And this is insane. And this is his whole getup for this Comic-Con. The Overwatch people can really appreciate this. And then here he is standing with some other people. This could have been at BlizzCon, I guess. Oh, no, it's MumbaiCon. Okay. So I was going to say, for a minute, I thought maybe I had the wrong convention. It could have been at BlizzCon because there's other World of Warcraft type characters mixed in. Well, there we go. That's it. That's the whole set of stories for you for today. This is something that I share as often as I can. These are trends that I think in some way may impact your business or your life or give you some sense of something interesting and out of your norm so that you can think about stuff different than what you're sticking your face into right now. If you want to follow along yourself, go to chrisbrogan.com/CBM and you can see the stories for yourself. Click through the links, read all of the information. If you want to make a story like this yourself, you can use the coolest way to do Facebook Live for Mac. That's called Ecamm Live. That's how I made this show. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for your time. If you've got questions, just drop me a line, chris@chrisbrogan.com or anything else. Good to see you. Take good care. Bye for now.